140. It's really good to see 140 of you all who are here. So good evening to all the panelists, all the volunteers, and all the students who are really interested to find out a little bit more as to know what comes after A-levels, what comes after IB, what comes after Poly. So today we are here to we have our panelists here to share with you a little bit more as to what psychology entails in the university level. So we shall maybe take 2 minutes as we wait for the rest to stream in. Experience today, and I can't believe the So once again, thank you everyone to spend this evening with us, with the panelists. Our panelists is here to really to share with you a little bit more as to what psychology entail in the university level. So yeah, so sit back, relax, and if you happen to have any questions later, you may put the questions into the link that we will be sharing sometime soon. So yeah. Okay, can we have the next slide? So basically, who are we? So we are SG Psych Stuff. And as SG Psych Stuff, we hope that students learn about psychology, the psychology sector, and the career options, and others to improve their journey. We also provide experiences so that, students will go through different experiences like mentoring to actually enrich themselves. Also, we provide the environment and the opportunity for budding students who are interested in psychology to really network with people in the industry as much as possible. Next. So once again, please do follow our social media. So you can find us in our Facebook, our Instagram, and LinkedIn. And we have our website down there as well. So it would be possible if you could just drop by one of our social media and perhaps just to find out a little bit more as to what we do, who we are, what we stand for. Next. So here will be the timeline. So do expect that there will be a sharing session by each one of the student representative of every university. They'll be sharing with you guys their experiences in their school and some tips that they could offer for students who may be interested in psychology. We would then afterwards proceed to the career segment where our SG Psych Staff President will be sharing a little bit more as to what to expect in the psychology career. So once again, I'm really thankful to see an overwhelming number who are here with us. So thank goodness it's Friday. You guys will be able to enjoy this whole session, and we hope that you could take away as much as possible as our panelists and even our SG Psych Staff President share their experiences in the psychology sector or in their respective school. So now I'll pass the time to Carlin and the panelists who will get the ball rolling. Carlin and the panelists, to you.
Yep, thanks, Wei Hong. Hi everyone. Good evening, and thank you for spending time with us this evening. I understand that we have a lot of students here. Some of you might be getting your results next week. Some of you may have already got your results and planning to apply for university. Some of you may still be going through your education on your last semester and going to apply or have just applied. So we hope to give you some understanding about the different local universities in Singapore. And so we have got the different panelists from the respective schools. So we have got Yiling from NUS, Jia Ning from NTU, Jia Yu and Janice from SMU, and we have got Brian for from SUSS, and they are from the exco, from each of their societies, and they will actually give us a very good understanding of the different experiences that you can get, or rather they have gone through as well in their journey in their schools as well. All right, so maybe we can spotlight them as well, and let them share about their their experiences in the journey. Their experiences in their university. So maybe we can start off with Yiling, right? So maybe what are some experiences that we have experienced, and what are some tips for our students who are preparing to prepare for university as they come into your school?
Hi, good evening, everyone. So thank you for having me here today. Is it possible if I share my screen?
Can you try? Are you able to share screen?
No, not yet. Yeah.
Try again. No.
Okay. Yeah, so can you all see my screen? Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Eileen. So I'm from NUS. I'm currently a year 2 student doing psychology. Yeah, with the intention to do a minor in social work. So today I'll be talking about some of my university life. I started off my university life with troop board in year 1, sem 1. Then in year 1, sem 2, I decided to try something different. So I went to boxing. And then since year 1, sem 1 up to the present, I've been with Fest Club Welfare Subcommittee. So yeah. And then I concluded my year 1 with Psych Camp 2021. And I was actually the head of logistics, and you can see us preparing for logistics for a hybrid camp, but in the end it went into an online camp. So in the middle is actually my OG. So I led the OG together with my friends that I've also met while planning Psych Camp. So the OGLs on the left side of the slide are actually the OGLs that I did Psych Camp together with. Yes, and in year 2, I decided to place my focus in NUS Psychology Society because I was elected into the exco as the treasurer. So in this photo, you can actually see the rest of the exco members. We are actually a very close bunch, and yeah, so we work together to bring the NUS Psych community closer together. Okay, so now I'll be talking more about the academics. In this slide, you will be seeing all the modules that I myself have taken since year 1, sem 1. Okay, so actually most of the modules here are actually core mods for psych, except for PL 3239, Industrial and Organizational Psychology. There's an elective module that we can choose to take or not to take. Yeah, so the rest of the modules are actually core mods, and I left one module out, which was PL 3102, Biological Psychology, and that's because I've yet to take it. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions regarding this module specifically, or if there are any questions about other modules, also do feel free to ask me, and I'll try my best to answer them as well. Yeah, so even though I'm a year 2 student, I feel that there's still many things that are coming up for me, and I really do look forward to them in the upcoming months or year. So the first thing that will be coming up will be Psych Camp 2022. So once again, I'm involved in Psych Camp, but this year as a different role as a vice project director. So in this photo, you can see the other project directors who are working together with me, and we oversee camp planning and execution. And year 3, sem 2, I was glad to be accepted for student exchange. So if there are any opportunities regarding Psych Camp or student exchange that you might want to ask, do feel free to ask as well. Yeah. So final thoughts on uni is that it can be tiring, but it is also very fruitful. To be honest, when I first came to uni, I was very intimidated, but the flexible curriculum helped me to keep in touch with my old friends, and I got to make more new friends as well. And you can see in the photo with the 2 guys at the bottom, those are actually friends that I made through a psych mod. So we don't just make friends while having fun, but we also make friends while studying hard together. And this brings me to my last point. It can be very tiring studying hard, but I think studying hard is also one of the factors that makes uni life more fulfilling. And those countless nights when I rush my assignments are those nights that I'll never forget as well. So yeah, if you want to learn more about NUS psychology, I have attached all the social media platforms over here. And do feel free to visit us. And if you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer to the best of my abilities later. Thank you.
Thanks, Yiling. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of things happening, although only year 2, but a lot of things happening already in NUS. So maybe let's go on to Jianing from NTU. Hi, Jianing. Hi, maybe you want to share about your experiences and some tips for the students here.
Okay, hang on, let me share my screen.
Sure.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so hi everyone, good evening. I'm Jianing from NTU Psychology. So I'm a year 3 student now, and I'm also taking a minor in modern languages, mainly Japanese. Okay, so maybe I'll share with you more about my personal experience first. So some of my research experience, I think like research is like a thing that is quite daunting when I first heard, but through my 3 years in NTU, I've been like really fortunate to have like quite fun experience in research. So firstly, NTU has this Eureka program, so you can do research and you'll be supervised by a professor. So this you can either choose a topic which is available in the list when you are NTU student, so you can see what you like and can approach the professor. If not, you can propose your own ideas and can connect with a professor that you have interest to work with, and through that you can actually work out a project together. And next will be research assistantship. So in NTU, there are various professors handling different research projects on their own. So sometimes they will actually email students to see whether anyone is interested to join their lab. So my 2 experiences is in firstly early connection lab. So for early connection lab, it's more on children. So for my time there, I was like asking children questions about their mindsets regarding brilliance. So whether do they think that for like the subject math, they have to be very smart, or for reading, they have to be very diligent, for example. Then for my second research assistant work, it's with Prof. Wan Ching. So it's social psychology research on social media. Okay, hang on. Okay, so for school activities, as you know, I'm from NTU Psychology Society. So before I actually joined NTU Psychology Society as one of the main community members, I was one of their group leader. So for their orientation camp, so it's called Psych Cohesion. So if you actually join NTU in the future, maybe you can join this program to actually socialize or like network with your psychology peers. Yeah, and the second program is called Peer Helper Program. So basically, through this program, you get training about different aspects of mental health, like how to manage crises. So like if someone is like suicidal or like feeling very stressful, so as a peer helper, how should you respond to them? And we also have trainings on like peer support group. So it's a very interesting experience that people who are interested to help others and also maybe learn more about mental health support can join. Okay, so tips. So maybe you ask yourself if actually psychology is a course that you want to take. So personally for me, before I actually entered psychology, to be honest, have no idea what psychology is other than like, mental illness, people crazy, So how did I kind of like explore psychology from, scratch? So I think I look at textbooks. So I think textbooks is something that I didn't look at before because I have totally no idea what textbooks I should look at. But as a student now, I think maybe you can search for Introduction to Psychology textbooks. I think it's available online. One resources I think which you can easily access. It's not illegal, so it's like Z library. Yeah, Z library or you call it. Yeah, so you can download the textbooks and you can read whether like the things that they cover is interesting to you. Then also prior to that, I also look at Psychology Today. So it's like a magazine. So there are various topics that you can look at. I think that will help you to understand what psychology is about, although that is like only a small part of psychology. And also I think volunteering. So there are various organizations out there that can volunteer. For example, IMH Matchstick. So you'll be able to volunteer at IMH with people with mental illnesses, or like maybe like provide them with support and like some interaction. Then there are also various organizations out there. Then furthermore, I think you also can look at the modules offered by different universities. I think some of the modules that they offer are quite similar, but there are also differences. So I think you can spend some time to look at that. Okay, so finally, why I saw NTU attractive? Because of NIE modules. So other than the one listed here, there are also many modules that are quite interesting, like art or music related. So fun fact, I took a module, it's called life drawing. So to put it bluntly, you draw or you sketch like naked people. Yeah, so it's like quite a new experience for me. Yeah, so NIE modules are really fun. You should try if you are in NTU. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jianing. Yeah, I think that was a good tip about finding textbooks. Yeah, that's another tip that I'll put in my list of tips for students, like how can they learn more about psychology as well. And I think peer helpers is a good CCA, because that's a CCA that's coming up in, rather not say coming up, like all unis have these peer helpers or peer supporters CCA, and to help and to destigmatize mental health. I think that's a really good CCA if anybody is interested in psychology. Yeah. So maybe next, could we have Janice and could we have Janice and Jiayu from SMU?
Okay.
Hi, Janice and
Let me
Jiayu.
share. Yes. Let me just quickly share my screen.
So they are both from SMU, and they're doing psychology in year 2 right now. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Janice. A year 2, I'm taking psychology, and I have a second major in health economics and management. Currently, I'm the 18th Society President of in SMU. With me, I have Jia. She's a year 2 majoring in psychology and OBHR. She's the Honorary General Secretary of Society. Okay, so what is society, right? So this is the SUSS society in SMU. So in SMU, the student life is very vibrant, and also it's very important for the school and the students. The school provides a lot of opportunities for students to be able to involve in the student life. So we have more than 150 CCAs, and this is one of the CCAs that you can join as part of SME student life. Yes. Oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah, so I'm Jia, and in SMU, we also offer a lot of different modules. So these are just some of the modules that we are offering, and those that are STAR are actually compulsory. It is 3 out of the 8 compulsory modules in SMU, but these are the more psych-related ones. Yeah, and we also SMU also offers a master's and a PhD program in psychology. So if you want to further your studies beyond just getting a bachelor's, you can do so here at SMU also. Yeah. Here are some additional info for admissions for both the A-levels and polytechnic. And actually, our open house is also coming up really soon. Yeah. And lastly, if you want to know more about us, you can reach us through our link tree and right here. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Janice and Jiayu. And yeah, you can go onto their link tree and their social media. All the unis have very vibrant social media. We follow them, and that's how we also know about them and what's happening as well. Yeah, I think it's good for everybody to have your questions, and feel free to put your questions out there for them as well. Maybe next we have Brian. Yeah. So do I need to do a special introduction for you, Brian?
No special introduction necessary. Yeah. Maybe I can also share my screen just to share some slides. Sure. Yeah.
Could we spotlight on Brian?
Okay, is my screen visible?
It's coming.
Oh dear, a bit of a technical glitch. Am I still on?
Yes, I
Okay.
can't see you, but I can hear you. Yeah, maybe I must give the disclaimer first. I know Brian from a few years ago. The other committees I don't know so well, but Brian, I know him from a few years ago. That he interacted with us in SG Psych Stuff, because he was one of our first few mentees that gone through our system, that we have a mentoring program that we mentor undergraduate students. So I think that was the first time that I met Brian and we talked sometimes lah. And now he's the president for SUSS. Yeah, Site Connect. Yeah, Brian, you're up. Yes, your slide is up.
All right. Thanks a lot for that, Carlin. I even took a module from Carlin. Had a pretty good class on sports psychology. Yeah. So myself, I'm Brian. So maybe just to share the next slide. About myself, I'm a final year student currently at SUSS. So the president of Site Connect. Maybe just to share a little bit of a story that was a bit different. I initially didn't want to go to SUSS. It was actually through the persuasion of a friend that I ended up at one of their open houses. And I saw the curriculum of the school, and it actually got me interested because I actually had other plans. But after I saw the curriculum and started to engage with the faculty members who were at the open house, I was quite intrigued with what they had to offer. And I thought they were pretty kind. I mean, at that point, you might think they're just trying to get you to enroll into school. But interesting enough, that actually carried on. So one of the things that I really enjoyed in SUSS is that the lecturers are very willing to speak to you, even after our classes, to just stay back and engage with us and share with us their industry experience. So next, I'm going to share a little bit on the activities that we have as part of our PsychSoc. So we actually do volunteering visits as a society at IMH, and we go there regularly until the pandemic happened. Some of the activities that we do with some of the long-term stay residents over there, we do crafts and coloring with them. Some of these things that were painted on paper mache. Other things that we do includes visits. So as part of how we hope to enrich the psychology education for our students is to show them what the field looks like. So we actually brought some of our students to Changi Prison and see how the inmates live and what kind of activities they go through. And at the same time, we also spoke to some prison psychologists who shared with us the kind of work that they did. And interestingly enough, for this particular visit, we actually bumped into one of our alumni who ended up becoming a prison psychologist after studying forensic psychology. Other things we do, we coordinate events. We coordinate events with other parties to sort of get other varsities involved. We work together with NUS, NTU on a student symposium. We also have internal SUSS events that we get our students to help out. So this one was a well-being conference that was hosted in SUSS with other organizations as well, not just students. We also organize our in-house events. This was pretty much in the pandemic when we had to play a lot of online games to try and get some level of interaction. We also had a board game sessions. So we try to get our students to get to know each other in different ways. So this was our recent board games event, I think just about 2 months ago. Some of the games that we played. Yeah. So also our IG, I hope you guys can follow us and maybe learn some, follow some of the content that we have. Yeah. So that will be the end of my short sharing. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, you just stay here and then we'll spotlight everybody because technically that's the next segment that we're going to get everybody up here. You know, E-Link from NUS, yeah, and you know, Jasmine and Jia Yu from SMU and Jianing from NTU as well. Okay, let me just share the screen for the questions. Yeah, so everybody can see the questions that are already submitted. So we do have some questions that are already submitted when you actually register. And yeah, so we have pre-selected those questions to come up when you register. You give us some questions and we put up there. And then even from the live Q&A that we have as well here, we will be putting them up onto this screen as well. All right. So maybe first off, we say, what can we expect when we study psychology? I think that's been covered by some of the unis here already. Maybe anything to add from anyone? From anyone from NTU, NUS, SMU, or even SUSS as well? Anyone to add anything here?
Maybe I can add something about like the modules, like how is it like an assessment? I think for the modules, there's a range because we have like core modules where it's compulsory. So it ranges from like biological psychology. So it's like related to brain, neurons, synapses, that kind of thing. And there's also like social psychology. There's also abnormal psychology, which like people are maybe like slightly more aware of, like, all the disorders. So for assessment type, it ranges. There will be like MCQ quizzes, essays, project work, and like some of the modules is like there's one that I took is in community mental health. So it's like mental health program for everyone or like for a bigger group of people. So for that, it's like we have to come up with our own so-called program and also present our program to like stakeholders. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Janine. Yeah, so I guess that's the range of subjects. There's a lot of different modules in psychology that you all have to take. And I think another one that I've seen on some of the slides are research. There's some research modules and social science and these modules that pretty much I think is quite common across all the universities because statistics is something that when you have to study in psychology, right? Statistics and research is something that definitely we have to study. And that comes to the next question that we have. Like what are the required subjects that we need to take? I think this is from a JC student. Do we really need H2 math? I mean, from anyone who have done JC among the panelists as well, do we really need H2 math? Is there any advantage if we take H2 math, or is there any advantage if we take any other subjects?
Yeah, hi. So maybe I can go first. For
Sure.
NUS, if you were to study psych alone, there's no prerequisites that will be needed. Yeah, but just to take note that if you were to do a second major in business management, right, you will probably need a H1 pass or equivalent in mathematics. Yeah, so yeah, can just take note of that. But if you were to do psychology alone, there's no required subjects. And if you do take H2 math, I would say it might not really help, as in because whatever we learn in statistics over here are quite different from the statistics that we learn in H2 math. Yeah, so don't worry too much about it.
Thanks, Eileen. Yeah, any difference from our friends here from SMU or SUSS as well?
Okay, I can share also. So I feel that whatever I learned from my H2 math, like I really didn't have to apply anything except for maybe like typo testing. So as long, but then it's more of like as long as you follow your classes and you ask your prof if you have any questions, you'll do fine. Yeah. So don't have to worry too much. Yeah.
About the question, about the topics, about the modules and
Yeah,
things
correct.
like that. Yeah, so it might be related. It's good to have some background, but yeah, it's just the hypothesis testing and probably something that you learn in your project work as well, right? Yeah, so the next one, I mean, just now we had a JC question. Now we have a poly question. That's going to a poly. This is probably from someone from a poly or going to a poly. That's going to a polytechnic reduce my chances for a place in university as compared to in a JC. Anybody from a poly? Yeah. No?
Maybe I can share. Myself, I was actually from Singapore Polytechnic, and I actually did triple E, and aerospace electronics. So that's pretty the different
engineering
topic. Yeah. So yeah, I was from engineering. I don't think it affects your chances. Yeah, but I do see quite a number of my peers coming from like TP, psychology and other psychology programs from other polytechnics. Yeah.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I guess like to also follow up with what Yining mentioned earlier. There is no prerequisite technically. If you want to study in psychology, and I guess that similarly, that was one of the things that when I started studying psychology, I thought it's been good for me because everybody's on an even ground as well. So it's pretty much open for all, and even if you want to change a course like what Brian did as well, that's totally fine. Yeah. So it's still dependent on your grade lah. So technically, study hard. Study hard first. Do whatever you need for your JC or your poly, right? But I guess coming back from the JC's point of view as well, yeah, would the biological concepts or modules that everybody's experiences, that's how you mentioned, right? Have to study the biological sciences and about the brains and things. Is it challenging for everybody here? Or if you are from the art stream, is it challenging?
For me, I actually came from a science stream lah. So, but I have to say that the PR 3102 biological psychology that I was talking about just now during my sharing, one reason why I've yet to take it is because that module is pretty challenging, and from a science bio student, I'm already saying that it's challenging lah, and cause friends around me have been doing it, so I'm just doing it. Yeah, so I feel that although it might sound like a bad news to everyone that biopsych can be quite challenging, but I would like to reassure that everybody kind of start from the same point. Yeah, I have bio friends who finds it challenging as well. Yeah, so I once again don't think you have to worry too much.
Maybe if anybody who have never did bio. Anybody here in your previous studies never did bio? Like Yiling said she did bio in her JC, right? Or JC or secondary school, right? But anybody here didn't do bio in your secondary school or JC? Jianing or Brian, or how is your experience like doing bio in university?
Actually, for me, I actually did bio. So I did HB bio, but I think because for NTU, like biological psych was our compulsory module. So I took in I think I cannot remember clearly, but I think it's year 1 or start of year 2. So I think it's definitely challenging because it talks about the brain, anatomy, like different parts of brain, which is actually quite new to like a H2 bio student. So I think don't be deterred by it, because a lot of things that we learn in the textbook or we learn during the class is actually, I would say, quite new to us. Maybe like synapses, neurons, and a bit of like hormones, I guess, is quite familiar to bio students. But I think the way the course is structured, it's like it teaches you from the beginning. So as long as you follow, and maybe if you have questions, you can ask the professor or like maybe your friends, I think it shouldn't be a super big issue. Yeah.
Maybe I can share from a non-bio background. So I've not taken like bio at all, even in secondary school. But I thought it was okay. It wasn't that challenging. I'm not sure about the structure for the rest of the schools, but what I found helpful was that even in Introduction to Psychology, they actually have a little bit of biological stuff that they explain, like your synapses and your neurotransmitters and things like that, and they kind of like do it progressively. So a little bit of the intro to psychology sort of helps that, and then as you go to abnormal psychology, there's a little bit of that, and then when you eventually hit biopsychology, sort of a full-blown module on the bio side of things, right? It's not so bad. Yeah, there's a little bit of a progression. Yeah.
Janice and Jiayu, anything to add for this?
I think for SMU, our bio psych is called health psychology. It's actually an elective that we can take, so it's not compulsory. But it's, I think, because for me, my second major is health economics. So healthcare is one of the, I guess, modules that people also like to take in SMU. So in terms of biological concepts, it's not only in health psychology, but you can get it from other different courses in SMU, like medical sociology and like that. Yes.
I think I can give a viewpoint on this, because for me, right, Okay, just a disclaimer. I did psychology. My psychology journey started like 20 years ago. So maybe many of you are not born at that moment. But I'm very adverse to biology because I didn't study biology in secondary school. Like the last time I studied was Sec 2, and then after that, when I go to uni, first module is biology. The intro to psych, it has biology already. And I was very adverse to it, but yeah lah, just work hard, memorize, yeah, memorize everything, try to put everything when you have into, and then go for exams. So, but after a while, with more and more modules coming in, similar things, and because I think it forms that basis, and as you go up, you learn about abnormal psychology, you learn about the medication, the pharmacology, bits of things as well. So it will add up lah as you go. Yeah. Yeah, so still on modules, very similar ones, but a bit broader. Maybe this part we can have Janice and Jiayu, because I know that you are doing double majors. I'm not too sure about Yiling and Jianing. Yeah, but yeah, is there any benefit? Is it beneficial to study a double major?
Yeah, so actually, SMU offers like every SMU student is like guaranteed a second major. So for me, I take OBHR, which is Organizational Behavior and Human Resource, because it's like people and psychology is kind of like the mind and social side, the kind of situation. So I think one thing that's very beneficial is that it's very like interrelated. Like whatever that I learn in psych, I can apply also in my business mods. Yeah.
Yes, for me, my second major is, as I mentioned, health economics and management. Because I have a huge interest in healthcare also, because most of the modules in SMU is business related, but it's not very uncommon also for SMU to have interdisciplinary modules. So I can also take modules that have a lot of overlapping disciplines like medical sociology. So it's still in the healthcare sector, but also relating to sociology and health psychology, and yes, healthcare management, and many more. So I think it's one of the special things in SMU, being able to have double majors, a guaranteed double major. And one of I think a few other popular combinations are psychology and marketing, psychology and communications management, or psychology and OBHR. Yeah, so I think a lot of SMU students take these two double majors.
Yeah, and actually in SMU, the school of, I'm not sure I'm saying it right, it's a school of social sciences. It has very different like majors in a way. So a lot of students do the cross beat across all the different majors in the social sciences lah. Yeah. Yiling and Jianing, are you all doing double major?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so maybe we move on to the next question, which is actually for Yiling. For Yiling here. Yeah. This is talking about the CHS, which I'm not sure if you are in the CHS. Maybe you want to give us the full name of CHS and see how we can guarantee a spot to major in psychology. Yeah.
Okay, so actually CHS is College of Humanities and Sciences, and to be honest, I'm not part of CHS. CHS was only formed right after my batch. So this year's year one, they are the first batch. Yeah, so perhaps can I share my screen to show some information? Yeah, okay. So over here, you can see this the CHS common curriculum. So actually for CHS, these are the core modules that you have to take in the if you are enrolled into the faculty. So yeah, and actually all these modules, I have to be very honest, I can't be very sure about what they really are, because I'm not part of CHS. But I can talk more about this 1, 2, and 3 because they are mostly under FAIRS. So actually in FAIRS currently, I choose these are different pillars. So Asian Studies is one pillar, Social Sciences is another pillar, and Humanities is another pillar. So what we do is that we have to take a module from each of these pillars. So what's the rationale behind it is because FAIRS wants us to wants us to explore different pillars of majors lah. So before we make our decisions. So there are modules that will be pre-allocated to the students first, then to complete the core modules. So that's something that you guys don't have to worry too much about. Yeah, then the other question is how to guarantee a spot in psychology. So in NUS, right, you are free to change your major until your 5th semester. Yeah, so for example, next semester, year 3 sem 1 is my last semester. So once I key in my major, that will be fixed already. Yeah, so basically, if in year 1 sem 1 you try something out, you think it's not your cup of tea, then you can try out others before deciding what you really want to major in. Yeah, so I think that's something that has worked quite well with me, because I have always been quite fixed on psychology, but when it came to my second major or minor, that was when I started to like, oh, okay, I think I should change this sem. Yeah, so there's a freedom for you to choose. Yeah.
So you can actually change your modules in a way to fit how you like. And yeah, just a mention again. Eating is actually not from CHS. She's from FASS of FAS, which is Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, and CHS is College of Humanities and Sciences, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's something that's happening this only for I think for the incoming batch. So yeah, feel free to look up the websites. I think they will probably have a lot of information there about the type of modules. Yeah, if you are not sure, probably email us at SG Psych Stuff. We will help you dig out as well. We would like to know about all this as well. But yeah, I think this is a very big question that everybody is interested in. How are your assessments and exams like? Is there a lot of MCQ, open book, essay writing? What do you have? Maybe we come back with Yiling again.
Okay, so for NUS, right, I have to say that a lot of my friends talk about how different profs have very different ways of doing things. So I can't tell you directly how are assessments and exams like, but one thing for sure that I can tell you is that be prepared to write quite a bit, because to be very honest, I came in as a science student, like I mentioned just now, so I was really not used to all the writing, and when I came in, there was a little bit of culture shock. All I knew was that I was very interested in psychology, so yeah, when I had to write, then it was another learning curve for me, and I think it really allowed me to grow a lot. Yeah, but assessment and exams wise, it really depends on the prof that you get. For more technical modules like cognitive psychology and perhaps biological psychology, their assessments are more of like they will have exams. So it's timed and you have to sit there, yeah, and do it. Then for social psychology, there's more application to like your life. Yeah, so that's when the writing will come in. And actually, I feel that when it comes to the writing assessments, it can be very cool because like the profs can find very different questions that are very relatable to your life. So although you have to do a lot of research, but it can also be very relatable. Yeah, so some are actually quite enjoyable.
So it really depends on the prof and the how they like the modules and what they want to test you on the assessments as well. I think this is a big difference. Like what you mentioned, right? The culture shock when you come from JC into university for psychology. Because what I hear from a lot of students who do diploma in psychology, this is something that they are used to in diploma already. So I think that part less culture shock lah. But modules wise, again, a lot more to study. So maybe let's move from Jianing. Yeah, how is the exams and assessment like in NTU?
Okay, so similar to Yiling's, right? Yeah, it's also dependent on the prof and the module. But maybe to add on, it's like I mentioned there will be like group work. So some of the essays can be collaborative essay, like maybe like a research proposal or like an essay on a topic. Then there are also projects which completely requires no writing. Like for example, I have like modules where the assessment is to film a video about something. So recently I did a module called Psychology. So it's psychology about, in some sense, about older people, like dementia, Alzheimer's, and also like the population. So for that, we actually had to do a video about a policy that we want to introduce for elderly caregivers. So that is a kind of assessment like that you can see in NTU. And other than that, I think it will be quite similar, like quizzes, long MCQ questions, or like short essays. Yeah.
But it's very broad, like sounds like even policy writing kind of activities as well. Yeah. I think recently I got an email, like a request for for some questions. And a group of students are actually doing a chatbot as part of their assignment as well. So I guess the system is changing, and we are going with the times to make different kind of assessments as well. Yeah, maybe Janice and Jiayu, maybe you want to share about the assessments in SMU.
Okay, so I think for SMU also very similar to NUS and TU is that we got the essays, then we got the group reports, and we also have the group projects. But I think one part that is more SMU is more like of the class part. Like we have a very high weightage on discussing in class, and because SMU conducts lessons in a seminar style as compared to like other schools who has the lecture tutorial styles. Yeah, there's a very high emphasis on discussions, and class parting is really quite a big component. It can go up to 20% of your entire grade, which is honestly quite big. Yeah, and but also like so I came from GC, right? When I came over to Psych, I think one thing that was really a culture shock was also the essay writing, but it's not so bad because most of our reports are collaborative, and those that are individual are relatively not so demanding for the ones that I've done so far. Yeah.
So about 20% for participation scoring, like that's what we are saying.
Yeah, participation scoring is like 20%, and
yeah. But seminar,
in comparison,
those who haven't gone
like
to
finals.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, like finals can be like 35%. So it's as good as like a mid-term kind of situation. Yeah.
So that would actually make the students to speak up, right, in the class as well. But for
those, I encourage you to talk.
So to give an understanding, like you say about the lecture style or the tutorial style, right? Because I've been to SMU, I've gone into SMU seminar room before, so I know how the structure looks like. But for those, for everyone here who haven't gone into the SMU campus, now cannot go COVID lah. I went long before COVID. But for those who haven't gone into the SMU campus before, maybe you want to explain a little bit, what do you mean by seminar style? Like how does it look like?
Actually, tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, we have an open house. So students can actually come to SMU and try what it feels like to study in a seminar style class. So this Sunday we'll be having a physical open house. So if any of the students here want to sign up for that, they can try and be in the seminar style classes.
Nice.
But in the general context, the seminar style class is a class that consists of around maximum of 45 students, and it's in a very I guess it's like a classroom where you have in your GC also, and the prof will encourage a lot of discussion based case studies, discussion based. So before the class you'll be given readings, and during the class itself you will be discussing it as a whole class. So the professors will expect you to be able to be prepared for the lesson instead of just coming to class empty-handed.
Thanks, Janice. So you probably need to do a lot of pre-homework, right? Before your classes as well. Yeah, so you mentioned about the thanks for sharing about the open house. And it's happening this Sunday. Do they have to register to go for the open house?
Yes. So it's actually on Saturday and Sunday. Okay. I think for the physical one, they might have to register.
Okay, so we are just in time tonight, register
Yes.
on Sunday. So maybe Janice, can I trouble you to put in the chat for everybody this
Yes,
link
of course.
for the open house? Yeah, thank you
Mm.
so much. I think that would be really, really great. Same thing, I think if other unis are having your open house, please put it in the chat as well for everybody to go there and have a look. I think definitely, because with classes going back live, not behind a Zoom computer or whatever, good to see the environment. I'm just thinking, have I been to all the unis? Yes, I have been to all the unis. I haven't sat in all the classrooms, but I mean, I'm not from the schools, but yeah, but they all look slightly different. Yeah, the campuses are different. We've got NUS, huge. You probably need to take the bus around. NTU also huge. You can walk, but you also, I think there's a bus that goes around as well. SUSS is smaller. You can walk around the whole school. Very nice food around there. Yeah, and yeah, SMU definitely is in the city. Everybody knows that it's in the city. So okay, so maybe the next one. This one is more towards internship application. Maybe those who have done your internship or applied for internships, you can try to answer this question. All right. So what are some ways psych undergrads can stand out among other courses in various internship applications? So maybe this is someone who is trying to apply for internship, but you know, it could be a psych field or it could be a non-psych related field or business, for example, in here, that example given. So what are some ways that, you know, we can try to stand out in our applications? I'm not too sure if anybody, yeah, the year twos, I'm not too sure if you've done internships. Maybe Brian?
Maybe I can share a bit. So I did a part-time stint as a research assistant with the Center for Applied Research in SUSS. So I did some research on personality. I also interned with the home team, with the home team Behavioral Sciences Center. And most recently, I actually interned at a tech startup that's developing a mental health app. So I think one of the things that sort of stands out to me in terms of application and spicing up your portfolio, maybe more for the interview section, highlighting to the interviewers what you are actually looking for.
Brian, I think we lost Brian.
Sorry, did I get disconnected?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you went missing for like 3 seconds. Yeah, you're saying about tell them what you want or something. Yeah, in the interview.
So yeah, I noticed that some of the processes where the interviewers are picking out potential interns or people to hire for part-time research and whatnot, they're kind of looking at what you want in order to see whether you fit into the organization. So knowing what you want and what you're applying for, I think will be quite important, and also the topic. So I think a lot of people like to apply to home team because it's forensic related and it can be quite interesting. So but the thing is that the home team Behavioral Sciences Center, they have a lot of topics. So when you're interested in forensic psychology, it'll be worthwhile to think about what aspect of forensic psychology are you interested in. It could be being interested in scams. I mean, scams is something that's quite popular, or it's of interest in public nowadays. And if it's something that you're interested in and you highlight that to your interviewer, it gives you a higher chance, I think, to be selected. Yeah.
And I think that's something that we have to note, that when we talk about a certain specialization or certain area of psychology, like you mentioned about forensic psych, it's not just forensic psych itself. There is a lot of topics. There's a range of different things that you study within that one topic itself, within that one specialization. So that's something to note for everybody. It's not just there's a lot of understanding and background knowledge that you have to learn as well. I'm not sure, Jianing, have you gone for internship?
My internship is all like research based. So but I think like, yeah, like what Brian said, you must be sure of what you want, like your interest. And also I think like based on my experience, like approaching for research assistantship, I think it's also like maybe like some of the skills that you already have. Like it doesn't have to be in like through the modules that you take. It could be through volunteering experiences, or even like maybe like statistics. You have like some knowledge of analysis, or maybe like for me, because I work in like early connection lab, so it's like related to children. So previously I actually worked with children. I teach them taekwondo, so I think that is like some of the relevant experience that you can share with your so-called potential employers. Yeah.
So to build up as much experience as possible through other things as well, not just internships. So it could be volunteering, it could be research experiences with your profs and things like that. And I think there's in the unis, NTU, NUS, SMU, there's a lot of research opportunities as well that you can do with the profs as well. So that might be something that you can beef up. I mean, like we mentioned earlier, SG Psych Stuff, this is something that we often look at, how to increase students' experiences and get as much knowledge as you can. So definitely, do as much things as you can to build up your experience lah. Yep. To level up yourself as well. Yep. Janice and Jia, have you all done internships?
I actually did internship during my year one, so year one summer going to year two. For me, I was in a non-profit organization, so I think that's one of the more famous internships also that psych students like to go to. So doing social work and all that, I think it's more circulated. But I think recently there was also an internship program from the Home Team Behavioral Sciences Center, where actually SMU offered to the SSS students to intern there also. And similar to, I think, NUS and NTU and SSS, there's also a lot of research assistant opportunities. So with the profs and with external organizations also.
So it sounds like Home Team has a lot of opportunities for their research assistants there. And I think I saw last year as well. They got their research assistants to do a presentation on Zoom. Yeah, I went in to have a look. I was like, it's quite impressive. Like even as an intern, you represent the Home Team and you present your research as well. Yeah. Maybe and quite interesting. Year one you can do internship already, because some of the schools you have to wait till year 2 or year 3 before you can do your internship. Yeah, that's why I'm not too sure. Like if year 2, are you at the internship stage? Yiling, Jia, have you done internship yet?
I think for myself, not really. So actually in NUS, like I do remember that I have some friends that might have done internship, but in NUS, I think the norm is kind of like we will start internship in like year 2 summer. Yeah, then maybe since we are on the question about internship, then actually NUS has this CFG. I forgot what's the full name for it, but it's actually some career guidance. Yeah. So CFG
Center for Future Graduates.
Yeah. Then so they actually do send out regular emails as well to let you know about what are some jobs for graduates, but also internships opportunities that are available at that point in time. Yeah, and CFG also carries out like career guidance. So there are mods that they actually conduct just for you to pick up some skills. So in year one, I'm not sure whether it's relevant for CHS, but in year one, they actually taught how to do an interview and also how to write a proper resume. Yeah, so these are some things that maybe you could look out for if you come into NUS and you're looking at applying for internships.
Yeah, just to share a little bit, CFG in NUS is very similar to the ECG that you have in the polys and the in the JCs lah. So similar, but they will give you internship opportunities. They will send all these things to you as well. Yeah, which is really, really good. Yeah. So maybe let's move on to the next question. It's asking, okay, this is as you're going into psychology for uni, right? What are some things, some skills, some activities, internships that we can learn or do to spice up the portfolio when gearing up for psychology in uni? did y'all do anything before you started your uni? Like between your JC or poly graduation to uni? Was there anything that you do to spice things up a little bit? Maybe Yiling, let's go with Yiling first.
Yeah, okay. So for me, before I started uni, right, I did a PA internship for 7 months. Yeah, so but when I applied for the internship, it wasn't with the idea that, oh, okay, I'm gonna do psych, so I think an internship with PA will be helpful for my portfolio. Yeah, but I guess it's really because of my interest as well. I really wanted to serve the community, and yeah, so I applied for the internship, and that internship was a very fulfilling one lah. Cause it was in the start of 2020, January of 2020. So that's when the pandemic hit. Yeah, so I saw how it built up when it reached the peak, and then how it went to the circuit breaker. Yeah, so although I didn't come in with the intention that I'm going to do psych next time, but when I'm doing psych now, I actually feel like, oh, okay, I can now better understand like how people were feeling and why some people were behaving in a certain way. Yeah, and I think it helps also. I didn't get to have a lot of interactions with my supervisor because of the pandemic, but I understand that my supervisor also did psychology in uni as well. So perhaps maybe in this kind of sectors, you might see people who have more experiences in psychology, and if you have a chance, then maybe you can speak to them as well. Yeah.
And this is what People's Association, right? You're saying?
Yeah.
That you went to lah.
Yes.
That you're working within the community and working with people. Yeah. Yeah. So definitely there are some internships that are, for recent graduates, for the A levels or the poly graduates that they can do before they get into uni. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I think that's very insightful about what happened during the pandemic and people's mindset lah. I think during that time also, there's a lot of things happening for the psychology sector. I don't want to share here, but it's quite exciting lah, because I was doing a lot of things during that period as well within the psychology sector. Yeah. So maybe Jianing, is there anything that you did, or would you advise people to do before they go into uni?
Okay, so the truth is, right, I didn't do anything related to psych before entering uni, but I think what you can do is like say, I think I kind of encourage people to volunteer no matter what. So I did volunteer in like a grassroots organization prior to that, but it's not because of I wanted to go psychology, just that based on my own like interest. So other than that, my advice would be, I think there are some non-profit organizations out there that open internship positions to poly graduates or even like A-level graduates. So you don't have to be undergraduate students to do that. So I think you can search them out. So I think like some examples I know is like Health Serve. So it's helping migrant workers, and also Clarity Singapore. So they have various internship positions that you can try. Then I think another thing that I also encourage is like you can look out on like various like articles or various like websites that talk about psychology, so they have better understanding of what exactly psychology is. Yeah.
Thanks, Jianing. Yeah, definitely internship, volunteering, doing as much as you can. A good website that I would suggest is our SG Psych Stuff blog. You can have a look there. We have a lot of things there. We have like 10 years of writing there. A lot of things there that you can have a look out as well. Yeah, maybe for Jiayu and Patricia, for Jiayu and Janice, do you do anything before you go into you?
Yeah, personally, I didn't really get to do much because of the pandemic. But what I did was I tried to find like part-time jobs. So it was like more on the F&B business. But I think what I learned from it is that like, I built the soft skills that I needed, especially in SMU, because of the discussion-based seminar style teaching, and also really there's a lot of group work in SMU. So I made it a point to like improve my communication skills by like talking to my boss and my peers and my colleagues. So that was one thing that I did. And also I rested because I knew that uni was going to be tough. So I took time out to just gather myself together and prepare myself for uni.
Janice?
Yes, I think um I some of the courses that there's this thing called Coursera. I don't know if
Yeah.
anyone here knows about it,
Yes,
but
yes,
I
yes,
think
Coursera, yes.
yes, I think a lot of there's a lot of free psychology courses that you can take to like test the waters and get to know about
Yeah.
psychology a bit more. So I think those are one of the activities that I actually did before
Yes, yes.
starting uni. Yeah, so maybe if any of the students here
Yeah.
want to check it out,
I
it'd be very
I think that's a really, really good suggestion for Coursera or Udemy, right? Like if you're interested in psychology, a very good one is the psychological first aid. I'm not sure if anybody did that, but the psychological first aid, I did that, really good course because it's by Johns Hopkins University. So that was a really good one. Yeah, psychological first aid, or they have something like positive psychology and a lot of things there about psychological techniques. There's something that you can study, something that you can read up as well. On top of reading psychology textbooks, like we mentioned earlier, that's something that you can do. But yeah, read up, try as much as you can. Yep. Brian, anything? What do you do? What do you do before uni? You probably had a break that period, right?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a break. I didn't particularly do anything. Actually, one of the things that really helped me was reading the SG Psych Stuff blog. I spent quite some time looking through.
Thanks for doing a shout out for us.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's really what helped me because previously I studied electronics and engineering, right? And I had no clue what psychology was about, and I was really searching quite a number of sources, and I thought the blog really helped me in seeing the different schools and what they had to offer and what to expect in uni. Yeah, so that actually prepared me mentally. I don't know if it's a weird thing to say. I guess if I were to look back, I would not have really done any additional reading, so to speak. But that's for me because it feels kind of a spoiler. I pretty much enjoyed my time in my different years and just suddenly being exposed to all these new concepts. So that was very refreshing for me. Yeah, but I think if you're like me and you don't want too much of a spoiler, I think TED Talks can provide quite a interesting overview for some of the psychological concepts without having it spoiled too much. But if you really do want to read more, of course, there's really no harm and it really does help you. Yeah.
Thanks for the shout out of our blog again. Not that we want to boast about it too much, but we have comparisons of universities. We have comparisons of, like, let's say if you want to go JC or uni, how's the journey like? I mean, if I'm a poly student versus a JC student, how's the journey like in a university, and does it make any difference? Yeah, or the different courses and things like that. So yeah, read it if you are a student. I think that would give you a lot of insight, like what Brian mentioned. That's another shout out as well. I know I'm like putting a lot of efforts here, so sorry, but I think something to spice up your journey, especially when you're starting out in psychology, is that in SG Psych Stuff, we do have a mentoring program, and this is exclusively for undergrads only. So I think Brian took it in his first year, and yeah, and because we only open up our applications in like September or something. So if you are an incoming student, just in time. And it's for next year. This year is over. We already gone through everything, but yeah, it's for 2023 if you are going to apply for anything. Yeah. So yeah. So, but this next one is a very tricky question. It will make you think a bit more. Did you ever reconsider your choice of uni courses, and what made you stay? What criteria do you use to choose what uni to go for? I think this is one of the hardest questions we have in our list here. Yiling, do you want to try it out first?
Yeah, agree that it's a very tough question. But I have a more like, I do have an answer for like the first one, and the answer is yes. I did reconsider my uni course, especially in year one. If you guys recall from my sharing just now, year one actually I only did psych related mods because not too sure about the other unis, but in year one students normally complete more of the general modules that you have to complete lah. Yeah, so I only did one, and that was introduction to psychology. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's interesting, but because it's introduction to psychology, so it kind of like teach you something and then it takes you away and then teach you another thing. Yeah, so it doesn't go
Like
deep.
many topics, right? Like a
Yeah.
broad range of topics. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a broad range of topic, and like I said, coupled with the culture shock of writing. Yeah, so that was when I started to reconsider is it I'm not someone here because I'm not someone who's suited to be here because like I don't write and psych isn't really turning out like what I thought it would be. Yeah, but then I figured out that it's just an introduction module and it's literally the first module that I did lah. So like I shouldn't like be too quick to decide. Yeah. Then when I came into year 2, that was when I did more core mods for psych. So like I think like what Jia Ning mentioned just now. So we have core modules on abnormal, cognitive, biological, social, and developmental psych. Yeah, so I did more of these mods in year 2, sem 1. I have to say that I met really great friends, great tutor, that really helped me intensify my belief for psych lah. Yeah, so started to learn a lot more theories, and then actually across the different core mods, you realize that some theories can be applied here as well. So that was something that was very interesting to me, how although I take different core mods, but everything comes together and gels together very well. Yeah, so and I've always been very interested to work in the public sector. So I thought that, well, many people may say that psych is a very general degree, and then people will say like, oh, you confirm need to study higher up to like be good in what you do. But then I don't think so, because psych gives you the skills to understand people better, empathize with others better as well. So yeah, so that really made me stay lah, because yeah, I started to become a lot more interested. And regarding what criteria do I use to choose what uni to go for, firstly, I think it's the distance also. Yeah, because I stay in Tampines lah, so NTU will be quite far for me. Yeah, and I think this is a bit lame, but then because I have 2 elder sisters and one of them went SMU, one of them went NTU, and then I decided to go somewhere different as well to try out. Yeah, so yeah, I didn't really have a first. Yeah, so we could all share as well. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have unis in the east for psychology. The only uni in the east is SUTD, which don't have psychology. So yeah, whoever staying in the east, probably the nearest is the central ones, which is SMU. So maybe I'll get SMU folks to answer this question. Like, why do you choose SMU? Is it like distance, like Healing mentioned, or some other things?
Yeah, so my main factor was also the distance. So I live very near SMU. So it takes me like 20 minutes to get to school, which is like a very big plus for me. Also, I think why I chose SMU was also the second major guarantee, because at that time I was very undecided on like my track. So I could do psychology first and then decide on whether I wanted to do OBHR or like comms, which was what I was deliberating about. Yeah.
Janice?
Maybe
Why?
something to add on. What to like for the first question? I think the opportunity for us to be able to choose different courses is something that's special to SMU also. So we actually have 9 free electives, so we can take courses from different schools. So we can even take courses from the School of Law. So I think this is one of the things that made me stay also, because of the different courses that we can take, not just psychology.
Thanks, Janice. Jianing, what about you? Why do you choose NTU? Do you stay in the west side or?
Yeah, to answer that, yeah, I stay in the west side. I stay in Choa Chu Kang actually. So NTU is quite near. Although NUS is not that far also. And I think another thing that I kind of like wanted NTU instead is because I think I mentioned before, because like I think NIE modules are like quite interesting. Like they
Yes,
cover a huge range, especially on like site related stuff like special needs education, disabilities. There's also counseling, and I think also other mental health related things. So I think that is like a one interesting factor. Yeah, and also I think NTU is like I kind of like the NTU environment. So, you know, NTU, there's like Yunnan Garden, which is quite new. So, and the Hive, which is like a tourist attraction. Yeah, so I think that's why I wanted to go NTU instead.
Yeah, so, I think that's a very good tip that you shared about the modules, right? And I think that's something that everybody should go and look into. A lot of people just look into the website and decide on, oh, is it NTU, NUS based and whatever, or is it distance? But I think that's a very good tip that you gave, which is about look at the modules. What do they teach? What is the experience that you can get in the respective universities? Is that the experience and the learning that you want to get? I think that's a very good tip for everybody to consider. Yeah, thanks, Jianing. Brian, why SUSS? Oh yeah, you mentioned, right? You the sales guy caught you in.
No, a friend actually convinced me to go to one of the open houses. Yeah, I think another thing that sort of appealed, like made SUSS appealing to me is that, I mean, our courses are part-time, and what it allows us to do is to basically find work that is relevant to the field of study. So for myself, I actually was a regular in the military for a few years, and coming out, I thought, you know, maybe I want to catch up on some years. So I went to school at night, and then in the day I worked relevant like research roles that's in psychology, and I do have a lot of classmates that do the same, like they are early childhood teachers, and different types of working in different types of research fields, and that sort of helps them to make up for the time. I guess if work experience is important for you, this is also another factor that you can consider.
Because most of the classes are at night, right, Brian? For SUSS?
Yeah, that's right.
Do they have day classes?
Lesser, yeah, lesser,
but
yeah.
Yes lah, some lah. Yeah, so that's something to consider for everybody. If you are looking for, if you wish to have a like part-time job or something in the daytime, have classes at night, SUSS is something to consider. Yeah, which is something different as well. Yeah, in lieu of time, I'm just looking at the time now. It's about 9:20-ish. We are supposed to close at about 9:30, but I think we'll try to answer these questions a bit faster. And yeah, so whoever can chip in, please chip in. And then at 9:30 we will go into the career big questions. So we will overrun. We'll definitely overrun everybody. I'm so sorry. But yeah. So if you have career related questions, do put it in. And then at this segment for the uni questions, we'll probably close at 9:30, 9:35. Yeah. So I know NTU has a direct honors, right, Jianing? And then CHS as well, it's direct honors, right? Evening. Is it direct honors?
Sorry, CHS I might not be too sure, but I can do. Okay. I can check it out now.
Sure. But yours now, is it direct honors?
No, right? I will have to declare as well.
Yeah, you have to declare a 4th year. What about SMU? Is it direct honors?
I think it should be, because we have a compulsory senior thesis.
Yeah. Okay. So you do get an honors. You graduate with an honors in your degree. Yes. Yeah, Brian. Do you have to choose your 4th year?
For SUSS is by invitation, so you have to hit a certain GPA. I think 3.5 to be eligible for honors.
To be eligible for your 4th year honors, lah. Okay. I think this next question is just for Yiling. Yiling, sorry. Why do you choose minor in social work?
Yeah, okay. Actually, that's quite a long story, but I'll keep it short. So, actually intended to do a second major in social work, but I came to this decision a little bit too late. So, and I think just now I mentioned that if I were to go on an exchange, then it will be quite hard for me to finish the requirements, to complete the requirements. But I didn't want to give up social work because it has been very interesting. So I decided that I will settle for a minor. Then and why do I want to do a minor in social work? Because I have many social work friends around me, and they have been talking about how the profs has been very nice. And yeah, so when I went to do the modules itself, they were right. And also I found a lot of overlapping theories that I could actually link very well with psych. So if I were to ever be in the field with the social service, yeah, I think that these two what these two courses have taught me can be very helpful. Yeah, so which is why I chose to take a minor in social work. Yeah, and also I think for very, very practical reasons, if you were to do a second major in social work, now I'm talking about second major, right? So if you were to do a second major in social work, right, there are actually quite a lot of mods that you can double count. So you can do a mod in psych, then you actually don't have to do an equivalent mod in social work anymore. So it kind of saves you more time, and you don't have to worry about overloading for your SEM.
Yeah, since I see we can see the questions, and we still have another 2 more questions for you, Yiling, and maybe Jianing can answer the other 2. Do you stay in the hall? And can you apply for a major in any course, any of the course? Must it be a combination? Maybe Yiling, you want to go first?
Yeah, okay. So for myself, right, I don't stay in hall, and that's because a lot of lessons are actually online. So I don't really find a need to stay in hall, and I do have friends, and I would say that they might find it tiring, but they sign up for it, so they are actually enjoying it a lot as well. So I would say that if you actually really want to experience like having fun every single day, right, then maybe hall life is something that is suitable for you. But for me, I feel that even when I'm back at home, right, I can still sign up for different interest groups that I'm interested in, so to make up of like that part of uni life that I don't get to experience when I don't sign up for hall. Yeah, so it's really up to you. If you feel that you thrive with like interacting with others, then maybe halls won't be that stressful for you. Perhaps it might even help you more as well. Yeah.
What about Jianing? Hall or no hall? And
I don't stay in hall, but I think like it depends, because like some of my friends, they are very involved in like hall CCA. So like for hall CCA, it's just any other CCA. So for that, I think because they are interested in it, they will be very committed to it. But there are also people who are not very involved with a lot of hall activities. So I think it really depends on your own choice, and also whether you have the time and whether you have the time to do it. Then I think for the minor, there is a specific combination, but I think it depends on what minor you are looking at. Because like maybe take my minor for example, so I minor in modern languages. So there are a lot of languages modules that you can take, like Japanese, Thai, German, French, and whatever. So if you're interested, you can go to NTU website, then you can look for the combination. So it's mostly like a few compulsory modules that you take for any languages. And also the only thing is like you must take like level 5. So it's just dependent on the minors that you are taking. So but I think minors is less restrictive, because as long as you hit the requirement and you actually kind of like register to the school, telling the school that you actually want to take this whole combination of modules as a minor, they will give it to you as long as you fulfill the requirements. So I don't think you need to worry about that. Yeah.
Maybe I want to ask the minor question as well for Janice and Jiayu. I know there's no hall in SMU. Yeah, you are already in the city. You don't have halls, right? Just to
we have this something called SMU Prinsep Street Residences. So I think that's really
Prinsep Street
considered a hall.
Residences. Yes.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. But
I
can
stay there
local students stay there?
Local students can stay there.
Okay.
So I think now 50% of the quota is for local students, and students who have scholarship also, it's really encouraged to stay at the hall. Yeah.
So it's right. It's facing SOPA, right? Prinsep.
The hall is actually right beside LaSalle.
Right beside LaSalle.
So,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah, okay. I roughly I know my orientation around that area. Yeah. I know SUSS don't have hall. So I'm not gonna ask Brian the hall question. But for SMU, right? The combinations, is it preset or you can choose anything you want?
For the minors?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a free, we can choose anything.
Okay.
I don't think there are any limitations.
Hmm.
For double degrees, I think there are limitations in terms of there's the minimum GPA that we need to achieve, and also we need to apply for it, and it can be rejected also. But for second major, because it's guaranteed, there are no limitations to it, but there are prerequisites, so there are courses that we need to take before clearing the second major. Yes.
Before you confirm your second major. Yeah,
Yes.
and I think this last question for all the unis here, it's a very interesting one because each school have different way of getting your modules. So yeah, maybe we go NTU, NUS, NUS, NTU, SMU, and SUSS. Yeah, let's go, Yiling. How do you get your modules?
Okay, so for NUS, right? Basically every student will have this score for yourself. So if you're a senior, then your score will be higher. And if you do like module feedbacks for the previous semester, it will add on to your score as well. So the higher score you have, then the higher priority you get. Yeah, so actually for modules bidding, it's not first come first serve. So basically you select the modules you want, and then you will get to see the number of students who selected the module and the number of vacancies. So you kind of get a gauge where you stand in getting that module. Then you can add reserve classes if you think like, oh, I think I need a reserve one just in case I don't get this mod. Yeah, so so basically that's how we do it. And we actually have this website called NUS Mods. I can send it in the chat. Yeah, then basically that website allows you to plan your timetables as well. Yeah, so
So it's not as stressful as we hear the bid on the bidding, and you have your points, you put in whatever choices you want, and
yeah,
you
but
do something to get more points as well.
Yeah, but the higher level modules, right? Like just now I mentioned that I'm doing 3239. 3239 is an elective module. So and it's also a higher level module. So for those modules, actually I nearly didn't get that module, but it was only the second round. So some people dropped that module. So I managed to get it again. Yeah, and it could be because of my seniority level, which isn't that high yet. Yeah.
Okay, so they give a bit more chances to people who are like year 1, year 2, more than year 3, year 4, who might be doing different modules depending on the level.
Actually, the reverse. Because if you are year 3, year 4, then you might need to faster finish your requirements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So year 3 or 4, you get a bit more chance to do modules to clear whatever you have.
Yeah.
Jianing, how do you? What's the complicated process in NTU for getting your mods?
So basically, we use this system. It's called STARS, also known as Student Automated Registration System. So it's very different from NUS because we don't have scores for bidding. It's basically it's a system where you can plan your mods. You also can check the mods that are available. So we have a registration day and timing. So on that particular date and time, right, we will just log into our system. Then before that, we will actually have our so-called timetable planned out. So we just register our compulsory modules or maybe like electives. And most likely for compulsory modules, there will be sufficient slot for you because you must take that module. So in the event that you can't take it, right, normally we will just email or appeal to like the undergraduate office. They will ensure that you get a module. Then for electives where you can choose, this one is kind of depends on like how popular the mod is and also like the number of vacancies and also in some sense how lucky you are because you can register for that mod, but then it also depends on other competition, like whether there's a lot of people fighting for that mod. Then so it's something like a first come first serve basis. Then there are also electives currently it's called broadening and deepening elective. So basically you can choose elective from different courses. It doesn't have to be related to psychology, it can be anything. So for that, normally on that registration day itself, we will register that module. So we have 5 choices. So normally it's recommended that you put 5 choices and also rank according to your choice. So it kind of give you a higher chance of getting what you want. Then for that, it's also based on luck, but it also depends on vacancy and also your year. So maybe like year 3, year 4, you have a slight advantage over year 1, year 2s. Yeah.
Okay. So different system, but we say the vacancies are somewhat similar, but different system in the bidding. Yeah. SMU, Jiayu and Janice, how do you get your mods?
Actually SMU's bidding system is a bit complicated, but in simpler terms, we're given e-credits, so e-dollars. Every year we're given around 100, and each courses ranges around 20 to, and it can go up to 50 e-dollars. So the system, you bid for a class, you choose the module, the professor, the timetable. The highest bid, fill up the available slots, and you will have to repeat the process if you don't get the class. So yeah, the classes are chosen based on like the number of e-dollars you have also. So you need to really manage your e-dollars very well. Yes. I can share the guidebook, if any of the students want to know, because it's very complicated.
Sure. Yeah, I heard about the e-dollars thing where I speak to other SME students before. It's like buying your mods, but then yet you got the first come first serve system, and like I said, it's a choosing mods are a complicated thing. In all the unis, they probably have devised their systems around it. But Brian, is it different for you in SUSS?
I think for SUSS, we probably have the most like simplest way of getting a module. So basically, each semester you just rank you select the modules that you want to do, and you rank which are the ones that you want the most, like priority, and then there's an algorithm and the school assigns to you. Yeah, and largely you do get the modules that you want. I hardly have heard anybody not being able to get their mods. Like for myself, I've never been denied a mod before. Yeah. I'm not sure how the algorithm works, but yeah.
So you choose your choices, and then after that they will give you based on whatever depending on first come, like how is a computer system lah.
Yeah, the students have to rank the mods that are higher priority to you. And then somehow something at the back end they do it.
Yeah. So it's I said the bidding one is a complicated business. You go in, you know how it works, and it just comes out as it is. I've noted that we have passed the 9:30 mark. So probably that's all for the university questions. So before we move on to the career bit of questions, can I get all our participants here to scan the QR code or to go to the link that I'm showing here to help us with the feedback form for tonight. We really appreciate your help for this, and so that we can actually give you better and more and more talks in the coming year to go. For everybody to learn about psychology, to learn about the universities, to learn about the journeys of doing psychology in uni, how do I develop myself further as well. So so scan the QR code that we have, or the link is provided in the chat as well. You can click that, which is tinyurl.com/psychforum22, right? 22, right? So just help us with that feedback form. For those who feeling sleepy already, I'm so sorry. But yeah, we have another segment coming on, which is still on the career questions that some people have put in, and we'll go through that part very quickly, 10 minutes. Yeah. So, but before that, I want to thank all our panelists here for tonight. And yeah, thank you for spending the night and answering so difficult questions and all the many questions that we have from the students that we have. yeah, thanks so much from all the universities, and we hope to really connect with everybody to bring new things for your universities and for the students as well. All right, so let me just go back. Let me just stop sharing again. Thanks everybody. And me and Wei Hong will go through the career questions. Right, Wei Hong?
Yeah, thank you, Carlin. So there are some questions that were posed as you register for this talk, and we really appreciate it. We have a list of those questions, and we also would like to address these questions now. I mean, Carlin would love to address these questions now. So I can see from the one on the slide, okay, so the first question would be, what career options are there in Singapore if you pursue psychology in uni?
So to answer this question in a very simple way, how I normally explain to people is that it's like a pyramid, right? With an undergraduate with degree, there's a lot of broad range of there's a broad range of jobs that you can do. Okay, anything you like, because psychology encompasses anything that involves human interaction, right? And you study a large range of modules there as well. So yeah, with a degree, you definitely can do a lot of jobs. However, as you go up to a master's, to a PhD, the jobs become more and more specialized, right? Because if you do a master's or in clinical psych, what you probably do is a clinical psych kind of job or related. A PhD, usually people go into the academics, like a researcher or a lecturer or things like that. So the career options is like a pyramid. We can think about it that way, right? Many jobs, and then as you go up, your jobs becomes, I wouldn't say lesser, but more and more specialized in a way.
Thank you, Carlin, for sharing with us that by using the pyramid to already illustrate, as you go up the level from a degree to a master's and then a PhD, your job scope gets more specialized. Okay, so the next question is quite interesting as well, because that will definitely be a consideration as to whether or not, or rather, what can I do with my my psychology degree qualification. So the question is, are the people holding a psychology degree in demand in Singapore?
Is there a demand for psych degrees? I think, with the focus being more on mental health in the last 2 years, especially with COVID, and, people now are having COVID fatigue as a result of COVID going on for a long time. We have passed our passing our 2-year mark soon. Definitely there is a focus in mental health, right? And so definitely, we do need more people to look into interaction with people, with supporting people and things like that. So, but with that being said as well, your psychology degree is quite broad. It can allow you to do many jobs. So you have to consider what are the types of jobs you are considering as well. And what is your specialty, and do you have any extra skills out there, right? Do you have extra skills in research, or in user experience, or photography, videography, whatever other things? I often tell people, don't just stick with psychology, have something else as well. So I really applaud those with double majors, like social work, like the ladies from SMU as well. That it's a combination of something, and it actually increases your value on top of all your internships and things that you do. Okay, so yes, I would say yes, there's a demand, but it also depends on what do you hope to do, and how do you upskill or upvalue yourself as well, right?
Okay, thank you, Carlin. So the next question is, this particular person has been advised against taking psychology despite being extremely passionate about it because of the low pay and low demand for therapies. Are there any truth to this, and should I be concerned? What are your thoughts on it, Carlin?
Yeah, it sounds like we're always hiding the difficult questions in the middle. Yeah, even for the panelists just now, the difficult questions hide in the middle. Yeah. So so about psychology degree because of low pay and low demand for therapies, is there any truth? Okay, so first off, my advice is don't do psychology because of money. That's what I always tell people. If you're doing psychology because of money, it doesn't add up. If you're looking for money, study accounting, business related things, law. With the same GPA, you probably can get into something else, right? That you can get into psychology. For NTU, I can say, because I just checked the numbers, for NTU, NUS, you are looking at a GPA of about, for polys, you're looking at a GPA for about, on average, 3.7, 3.8 to get in. I mean, yes, definitely lower, you have a bit of chance, but to confirm get in, you need a GPA of 3.7, 3.8. For JCs, you are looking similarly, probably AABB or yeah, you can look up the what's that called, integrative grade profile of the universities. But yeah, don't look for psychology if you're looking for money. There can be other courses that you can get. That's number one. Number two, is there a low demand for therapies? No, there is actually higher demand for counselors, psychologists in the field. However, the question is that, however, not many people can climb up that pyramid, right? The pyramid is difficult to climb. That's why we have SG Psych Stuff, because the pyramid is very difficult to climb. Very little people get selected to move up to the next level. Like this question is talking about qualifications, right? Many people, to climb up to the next level of masters, usually, especially in psychology, it can be quite competitive. Okay, I'm saying the universities select students, and the process of selection is quite competitive to get into a master's program, especially for the more popular psychology programs in Singapore, like clinical psych, ed psych. Okay, they are definitely much more competitive than the other masters that we have in Singapore, right? So it's not that we have the low demand, it's also because we have a low supply, right? And so because there's a low supply, we need more people to help. So a mix of yes and no for this question. Low pay, I wouldn't say it's low pay, it's decent enough. I was sharing with the group, with the administrators here, the pay is decent, it's okay, you know. But is it worth your years of studying? It depends on the individual. Because to answer the next question, what qualifications must I attain in order to start practicing psychology? Okay, I'm assuming we are saying here to be a psychologist. Okay, you need at least a master's, and master's in applied psychology. Currently, there's only a few masters in applied psychology in Singapore. There is NUS with masters in clinical psych. There is JCUS, also masters in clinical psych. There is NIE with masters in applied psychology, counseling, as well as educational psychology in NIE. There's also SUSS with another 2 more, masters in off-site and forensic psych, right? So those are the applied psychology masters that we have only in Singapore. And for each of the intake is very small, okay, for all these masters. So we don't have a lot of spaces to get in, but to practice psychology, you need a master's. However, is it compulsory that you must have a master's to become a psychologist? No. Okay, because with an honors program, with an honors degree, like most of them are pursuing at the moment, most of our panelists are pursuing at the moment, the master honors degree, that would allow you to become what we call associate psychologists in the ministries. Associate psychologist. So yeah, you are associate psychologist, you are practicing psychology, you are doing the real psychological work. So a degree is okay, but if you want to be a full-fledged registered psychologist, you definitely need a master's. Okay, so just to answer that question very clearly, is having a master's degree way more attractive to employers compared to a bachelor's degree in psychology? Again, this is a difficult question. I don't know whether it's difficult or is it a tricky question, because there's many ways to look at this question. Number one, okay, who am I employing? Am I employing a clinical psych, or am I employing a caseworker? Right? So the question is, if I am employing a clinical psych, definitely I would want someone with a master's in clinical psych. I will not employ someone with a bachelor's degree. I mean, yes, I can. I pay the person lesser, but yeah, can the person do the job? We don't know, right? So definitely, if you have a master's degree and the job is a master's, if the job is a clinical psych, definitely a master's degree would be more attractive to me, right, as an employer. However, if I'm looking for someone as a caseworker, right, as a executive level job, right, do I want someone with a master's degree? No, because this person is probably overly qualified to be a caseworker, or be a entry-level job. I probably only need somebody with a diploma or a bachelor's degree. So it depends on the job. It depends on what is the requirements to do the job as well. Okay, and again, depends on what the employers want and what the job is. Yeah, so many ways of looking at this question. How an employer will find something to be more attractive or not. Yeah, so I think that is the last question. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, I think that's the last question that we have for tonight. Let me just go pop over to the other screen that we have. Share screen. So yeah, so wait, Hong, you can.
Yeah, sure. So thank you so much, Carlin, and thank you so much to the panelists for your insightful wisdom as to what you can really expect in the uni life, and as well as some of the career-related questions or some of the career-related issues that you have shared with us. It was definitely insightful. I mean, to me as well. So I believe it will be really, really very helpful for the rest of you as well. So yes, before we conclude this session, for those of you who might have missed out the QR code or have missed out the link, please do scan the QR code to basically indicate your feedback. We really appreciate your honest feedback. So I've also sent the link on the chat for those of you who may not have a camera at this moment. So do check out our social media platforms. So for those of you who have asked some of us as to where can I access this recording, so fret not, you can access this recording on YouTube and the website SG Psych Stuff. So what are you waiting for? Please go to the website.
Yeah. We'll put it in a couple of days or probably next week or something. Not so soon, not tonight, or everybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, we wish you all the best for your A-level result, IB result, and for the poly students out there, all the best as well. We thank you so much for joining us and staying till about 10 o'clock for this really wonderful sharing session. So we thank you and have a good weekend all.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.